Successful Minds with Patricia Barnowski-Schneider, the show that takes you around the world to share interviews with some of the most successful and relevant people on the planet. Hear their stories and get the most important business lessons they have learned on their road to success and get exclusive advice on how to implement their success into your life and business. Successful Minds with Patricia Barnowski-Schneider is brought to you by the Strategic Advisor Board and your host, Patricia Barnowski-Schneider.
Hello, and welcome back to Successful Minds. I'm your host, Patty Baranowski-Schneider. Today, I am joined by Victor Erukhimov. He is the Chief Executive Officer of It's3D, a state-of-the-art Avatar SDK pipeline that turns DT photos into unbelievably realistic virtual humans in just a few seconds. So he has lots going on, but I'm going to leave it to him to tell you more. If you want to just tell people a quick overview of who you are and what you do, and then you can answer the question, that's totally fine too.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot for inviting me, Patricia. Really glad to be here. Let's see. So I started as an engineer in the project that later became known as OpenCV, Open Source Computer Vision Library. And that is a library for like doing all kinds of things with images. And now it's the foundational layer of anything related to computer vision and AI that's working with images. So it's pretty well known in the world. It's like the number of downloads in the tens of millions. And that is still one of the reasons why people know me. Despite the fact I haven't been working on this library for a very long time myself. Then in 2007, I co-founded a company called It's that was working in the space of embedded computer vision. We've been doing automotive safety functions like pedestrian detection, forward car collision warning, lane departure warning, things like that. And the company got acquired by Intel in 2016.
Okay.
Shortly before that, I spun off a small team that has been working on 3D scanning at that time to change the realm of content creation in 3D. And so I was the only founder who was allowed not to join Intel because I was already running this other company. And that became It's 3D. Obviously, we're not very creative with names.
But you were ahead of your time here.
And It's 3D has basically two products. First is something that we introduced in 2015. That's a more classical 3D scanner. It's an app for an iPad. You take it and walk around a person or an object, and you get a 3D model, pretty accurate, close to being photorealistic. It's used by businesses in the medical space. And in gyms.
Wow.
And then like while I was at Intel, I was basically the CEO and I was doing a lot of sales and I was flying all over the world. We were selling to Asia, to US, to Europe. So I spent about half of my time in planes. And this was very stressful, changes in time zones and in general, I'm pretty high. I'm 6'2", so.
You're smooth, yeah.
It was not very pleasant. So at that time, I had this idea that, like, when I come to a customer, I shake hands, and then we sit across each other from, say, like just talking and there's just, video and audio. There's no touching. We just sit in the same environment. So this is something that potentially could be solved by technology. Like if you put on a VR helmet already right now, you kind of lose the sense of where you are. You are in this virtual space.
Right.
We thought it would be cool to introduce realistic avatars that like you would recognize. And that would give a kind of a face-to-face experience, and that's how Avatar SDK was born.
Wow, nice. So now, I guess, tell us regarding the MetaVersion 2.0 evolution. What key learnings and feedback from users of your earliest Avatar products led to the development of MetaPerson 2.0?
Right. Yeah, we started Avatar SDK from generating heads and busts, and we thought our initial market would be a AAA game developer who already has a lot of bodies and assets like clothing items that would be hard to transfer to ours. So we would just give them a head.
Right.
And um, we basically, once we released this product into market, we realized that like a lot of customers who really wanted our product was completely different area. This was indie VR developers, people doing marketing campaigns, people doing e-commerce, and a lot of them wanted full body avatars.
Right.
So once we realized that, we started building full body avatars. We started with something like we want to build accurate bodies. So we built a huge machine learning system, pretty smart one that was trained on a lot of full body scans. You would put on your height, weight, some additional measurements. It would give you a very accurate representation of the body. And then we released that, and our customers were very enthusiastic about it. And then most of them came back and told us, no, our customers don't want realistic bodies. They want nice looking bodies.
Welcome to the world we live in. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, all kinds of stories where, mirrors in Macy's, they kind of distort a little bit, look nicer. So we ended up creating MetaPerson avatars where the bodies are created by a 3D artist instead. We still have this machine learning system that can get you more accurate measurements of your body. But basically, the idea is that you take one selfie and you get a game-ready full body avatar.
Right. That's pretty amazing. And it is true because, like anything, like if you are going to have a presentation, you kind of need to visualize, well, what's the room going to look like full of people, not just their head, everybody sitting on the chairs, anything. If you are going to have a banquet, okay, well, how do we know if the room's set up right? You need to fill it with people. If I'm a clothing company, like they have the mannequins, maybe I need to see not so much the great body of how it looks in the clothes, but maybe I could say that might, maybe the color's off, it's just everything. And it's becoming such a big thing with so many, lifelike people out there. It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
yeah. So I guess diving into details, can you walk us through the enhanced features of MetaPerson 2.0, specifically the improvements in facial texture, hair resolution, and skin texture? And how do these advancements impact the user experience?
So we have just announced the release of MetaPerson avatars. They're out of beta finally, and this has been a culmination of our efforts for the past 2 years.
Nice.
So a lot of the changes we made to the core engine based on the neural network that predicts the shape and texture of the face based on the input image. We do a lot of things that make this technology robust against consumers. That's what we call it. Like, I'll give you one example. We create game-ready avatars, which means the face has to be animated. Like, it has to be capable of smiling, talking, blinking, and so on. And so we need a neutral facial expression in the photo. But people are so used to smiling in photos, they smile even they're explicitly told not to. So we built a machine learning system that would detect a smile and digitally remove it from the photo before applying all of the rest of our magic. And then we also are removing glasses and then giving people 3D glasses afterwards. We are correcting lighting because a lot of people have lighting conditions. For example, like lighting comes from the window from one side. And that also affects the quality of the avatar. So we solved a lot of that kind of problems that you don't actually see, but magically the avatar just looks good. And then we also learned from our customers a lot. Like, for example, we are providing a few levels of detail. There's a higher level of detail that works great for games that run on desktops with powerful GPUs. There's a lower level that works on virtual reality headsets. So you can render like 30 people in one room, and it still would be real time on a VR headset.
Very interesting. I mean, it is true because I know even with like the cell phones, where you can create your own little like emoji, and it's cute because you can customize it. Glasses, do you want earrings? So it's cool that you can customize it every which way. You can look like a Barbie doll. You could not look like a Barbie doll. However, red hair, brown hair, frizzy hair, no hair, whatever. I mean, it's becoming the world we're living in. So I guess speaking of customization capabilities, the new avatars come with a plethora of customization options. So how important was it for you and your team to provide users with such a broad spectrum of choices?
Yeah, I mean, it was like one of our primary goals, because like we are on a mission to make everyone feel like themselves in digital worlds, and people want to be different, not just from each other. Like one thing that became obvious to us while working on Avatar SDK for the past 2 years is that there's a lot of people who don't like how they look. Like they even can make a photo and they won't want to share it. So if we create an accurate representation of them based on the photo, this class of people, they would be unhappy, right? So we fail. And like a lot of these people, they actually requested very specific things from us. They actually gave us a list of features. They want to change the facial shape. They want to change specific facial features. They want to change like the skin color, the hair color, eyebrows. They want to customize the body shape. Obviously, they want all kinds of different clothing items, and we actually implemented all of that in the new MetaPerson avatars.
Nice. I know it seems nobody's ever happy anymore, but it is, because I know that too with people. They'll take pictures and they'll take 50 pictures and only share the 2 that they think they look the best in or whatnot, or even just the background scenery and stuff. But I guess giving them opportunities to enhance your best self is actually pretty cool.
Yep.
So regarding the avatar editor, tell us more about the new avatar editor that works in a browser. So how does this tool streamline the avatar creation process, and what can businesses or individuals integrate into their applications?
Right. So we used to have, so first of all, we are a B2B company, so we provide avatar creation services to other businesses like game developers. And so we have an API that you can use. You send us an image, we get you back a 3D model, that's it. With the new MetaPerson avatars, we want to enable consumers to customize the avatars. So we had to create a tool that would help consumers to efficiently reach the avatar that they want, and businesses to reuse that user interface and like make it stupidly easy to use Avatar SDK. So that's why we created the avatar editor that we call MetaPerson Creator, and that's a browser-based tool. You just go to a link and you create an avatar. You see this 3D model. You can change it in any ways. There are lots of customization options, and then you can log in and save it. And what's even better is that our customers can integrate this into their own product, basically as this web page.
Right.
So it takes just a few lines of code, and then as a result, like once a user clicks export, the business gets the resulting avatar that's optimized for a specific platform and ready to use in a game.
Wow. So, I mean, I guess for gaming, they could basically, let's just say they were doing a game and they wore a certain shirt with a logo, so that you can customize that, or, if it's whatever. I mean, that's actually pretty unique. I mean, is it just for games, or what other type of companies would kind of use this?
Well, we have all kinds of customers. Like our customers are games, and they create both avatars for the players, and also NPCs, non-player characters that are
Right.
just some characters in the game.
Right.
Like we have customers like VR enterprise companies that create trainings. Like
Yeah,
a big
perfect.
customer comes to them and tells them, I need 150 people populated in this environment tomorrow. So they go to Avatar SDK, they send us 150 stock images, they get back 150 game-ready avatars, like within a few minutes. We have marketing campaigns as customers that want to differentiate, like sending a little bit unorthodox message, and
Right.
allowing to interact with the marketing campaign. E-commerce, it's pretty wild.
Even for like companies like training videos, like a lot of times with big corporations, when they have to do various trainings, you can use avatars to train it. And I know, like, my husband just had to do it's pretty much like governmental things. You have to do various training online for harassment, for discrimination, things like that. And watching, they have actors doing, actual actors, and it's like you're paying a fortune, I'm sure, for these actors to do this 1/2 hour clip. You can have an avatar get the same message across, and it doesn't cost you as much. So I guess, it's like countless how many different variations and different people can use this sort of thing. It's amazing. So I guess for the future,
we had an interesting use case during the pandemic. We created a Zoom plugin called Remote Face that actually did something like that. It would replace your video feed with an avatar, and it would animate the face using lip sync, using your sound.
Right, that's amazing.
And it found, like a lot of people in the pandemic, they were forced to take video calls in their apartments, and found some were very uncomfortable about it. So they really liked this plugin.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you have, a bad, if you're in your kitchen with like messy cabinets or stuff, or in your pajamas, I mean, you can totally get away with being a professional. That's actually pretty unique. So now I guess with the future vision in the rapidly progressing world of virtual reality and digital spaces, where do you see your Avatar SDK and MetaPerson avatars fitting into the large digital ecosystem in the next maybe 5 years?
It's kind of hard to make any predictions given the crazy pace of innovation in computer vision and artificial intelligence. It's been way above expectations for most of people, even those working in the industry. So I think, I think we're slowly but surely moving to the level of technology where digital meetings will provide similar experience to face-to-face meetings. And that means that, like, instead of flying over the Atlantic to Europe, we could just put on a headset and be in the same room, and that would increase productivity because you don't spend time on travel and adjusting to time zones.
Saving money on all of that.
It would be great for environment. And I don't know when it's coming, but like, given the pace of change, I think we are pretty close within the next few years.
It's amazing. I mean, it is true. If that's one good thing that came out of COVID, was that it did show people that you don't physically have to be, you don't have to fly, you don't have to travel, you don't have to waste the money and the expense. Like, the funny part was, I've been doing remote working long before COVID. And, I found myself more productive because I don't have to travel to work. I don't have to get on trains, wait for the trains. It's snowing, the trains aren't running, I'm literally working from the minute I roll out of bed to the minute I go into bed. So people now started realizing that you don't have to do it. And I do agree, because having a phone call only gets you so far, but you want to see that face to face. And if you can't physically be there, having something like that. Like I can do this type of chat, but having it like in an environment where we're all sitting at a conference table, having, that kind of makes it a little more real, So I think that's really, really awesome.
Yeah,
Now,
pre-pandemic, I had a rule of visiting every customer once in 6 months.
Right.
Just maintain eye contact, shake hand,
Right.
Pandemic kind of normalized Zoom calls, so I don't have to do this anymore. But like still, Zoom calls are different. Like especially if you want to have an informal chat over coffee.
Right.
There's certain things that you won't be discussing on Zoom. Zoom is like business. If you want to kind of maintain good relationships, you still need face-to-face meetings.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I used to, represent companies that I'm in the US that maybe worked in Asia. And it was the same thing. It's like people want to see your reaction. You can have a conference call, but they want to see, because I could be sitting here having my coffee saying, yeah, no, business is great. We're doing phenomenal. But if you see my reaction, I'm like, business is doing amazing. We had a few slip ups, but it's, now I'm like, okay, I can see how this affects you, so people do need that face to face. But I guess in any way you could make it happen, like I said, doing something virtual, not so much, like this, but having it, because I remember one time somebody had a trade show and they had like hieroglyphics where you basically scan a QR code on your phone and say, like, I like Lamborghini cars. You punch in a code and all of a sudden a Lamborghini appeared in my living room. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so cool. But, it makes it real. So having everybody stay sitting in a conference room or, basically having coffee together, even though you're not really there, but you see everybody's reaction because you're a lot more relaxed now. It's kind of cool.
Yep.
The new world we're living in. So I guess talk about challenges phase. Now, every innovation comes with its set of challenges. So what were some of the hurdles you encountered during the development of MetaPerson 2.0 and how'd you overcome them?
I mean, we obviously have our fair share of challenges as any startup. I think there are two factors that kind of have been holding us back at various times. One thing that was a surprise for us coming from computer vision to video gaming was that anything related to 3D has a very long development period. So projects last for like 2, 3, 4 years, and they can be canceled last moment. And it's kind of a lot of that is related to the fact that there's a lot of labor that goes into the image looking good. In fact, the new MetaPerson avatars kind of address this by providing our customers a ready-to-use tool for building avatars. So we kind of there's a lot of challenges that you have to face when you build a computer game, and at least this one is out of the way. If you have realistic humans in your game, like we got you covered. If you have cartoonish, we also got you covered. We have a cartoonish filter. And then, like, I guess one thing that many startups, I think, face is that trying to distinguish between real long-term use cases and hype. Like a couple of years ago, everyone was excited about metaverse. Like when Mark Zuckerberg had this announcement fall 2021, I think he did this on Friday, and then on Saturday the traffic to our website doubled.
Wow.
And then we had an influx of customers who were building metaverses. They came with all kinds of requests. They wanted specific features, and they were paying money. So we had to kind of accommodate them, being a flexible startup. However, a lot of these use cases, they ended up not being monetized. So these projects died, and as a result, like a lot of these features, they are unused now. So we wasted a lot of time on this. So trying to understand what's going to stick and what is just hype is something that I've been struggling with, and I don't think there's a single cure for that. It's just like experience that eventually I hope we get better at this.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, well, two things with that. One is that it was practice for you, so that was great because now you got to try all these different things. But two, since you're doing this, for a while now you can actually guide them and actually counsel them. So if they say, well, here we want to do this, before you even put in all the effort, you can kind of help them. Okay, let's look at the long-term plan. Are you prepared for this, this, this? Are you going to do this, this, this? And here's changes you can expect. Because a lot of going back a couple of years, everybody became an entrepreneur and everybody had these great ideas, but no one really thought I shouldn't say no one. A lot of people didn't think the long term or think it through, or maybe they only had funding to get this far and hope for a miracle. But they have to really understand what is involved and how long this could take. And you can actually guide them on a lot of that now. And maybe it'll change people's perspective and say, okay, well, maybe instead of doing it that way, let's do this way. But you're basically guiding them, but it's also saving you a lot of time and energy on stuff that they thought was going to get to here, but you're saying it's only going to get here. How about we meet halfway and we do it this way, Yeah, so you should be counseling too.
We got really good idea of what is going to work and what is not going to work. Right. So we do provide that kind of advice to our customers. Right. Sometimes they listen, sometimes they don't, but we think that's one of our value as a vendor for this technology to not just give here's the tool, you plug it in, it works, but we also provide a lot of advice on how do you actually use it, what do you use it for, what kind of scenarios work and what don't, how if you want to customize it, what are the easy ways to do that without spending a year on development and so on.
Yeah, I mean, you have the experience. So say I'm not as familiar with technology as you are, but let's just say even clothing. I have this idea, I want to create this line of clothing and here's what I think it's going to happen. And you're a designer and you could say, well, this fabric kind of does this will happen, this will happen. Are you aware of that? And I'd say, oh, I didn't, and you might suggest, okay, well, I would, you do what you want, but I would recommend this way. So together you can make this phenomenal product, but I would have to, rely on your expertise because I only have the idea. You have the whole thing putting it together. So, I mean, that people have to learn to listen, they might have the greatest idea, but you know best on how this works, what's going to work, what's not going to work. And, I always say people can't do it all. I say, focus on what you do best. If your job is to have the ideas, you focus on what you do best, creating it and knowing what works and what's not going to work. That's awesome. So I guess regarding a feedback loop, now that the MetaPerson 2.0 is on, it's out in its beta version, how are you collecting and integrating feedback? And are there any immediate updates or tweaks that you're planning on, based on user input?
We used to be a purely B2B company, and it's easy to collect feedback. You talk to your customers and you plan new features according to the feedback. MetaPerson avatars actually, the specs for MetaPerson avatars, they resulted directly from customer feedback. Our customers told us they want to have realistic avatars, game ready, full body, created from a selfie, with all kinds of customization options. And customers actually praise us for great customer support, and this core strength for our team. We really like to help our customers. But MetaPerson avatars are not just a B2B product. Now, anyone can come to the Avatar website and create a MetaPerson avatar and customize it, log in, save all the details, and later on reuse that in one of the games that would support MetaPerson avatars. And then for that part, we're still working on the feedback loops. We'll incorporate some of them into the product in the next few months to understand what our customers are happy about and what needs to be changed. And there's a lot of data. So far, the numbers are really, really crazy. People, so we just came out of beta, but during beta, people spent on average 10 minutes on the MetaPerson website customizing the avatars. Wow. that's a lot, like clicking all kinds of different sliders for 10 minutes. So potentially we have an immense amount of data that we can use to further improve the product and actually give people the avatars that they like.
Wow, that's actually pretty awesome. And it is true, I guess user feedback is like key because, again, as the designer, as the person with the idea, the customer knows best. They can tell you exactly what they're looking for. That's great. Now, the biggest thing we're talking about lately is deepfakes. So deepfake detector. You recently released a deepfake detector. Now, what was your motivation and how is that connected to avatar creation?
Yeah. So it's actually a pretty crazy story. So we are recording this in September, so I haven't actually told this. This is going to be the first time I tell this story publicly.
I had to tell everybody, you heard it here first, folks.
We want to create recognizable avatars so that you create an avatar, you go with it in a game, your friends who know you in the real world, they see this avatar, they would recognize you. So we use a lot of different tools to make sure we get recognizable avatars. We run focus groups on each of our products, and we use facial recognition. And apparently, like if you go to MetaPerson website and you create an avatar, you would see it's not photorealistic. It's not like a photo. You would see the difference. But apparently, we learned that's actually good enough. So this was January 2023. Actually, I think the first time we noticed this was late December, but this was Christmas, New Year, and we just saw that the traffic to our online demo got really, really high. And this was the demo where you create an avatar, you can rotate it left and right and basically test what we have. So in January, someone from our team tried to understand why the traffic tripled. And he realized that all of that additional traffic comes from Bangladesh, from one country. And 5 more minutes of Googling, there's a few viral videos on YouTube that are in Bengali. So we don't really understand what they're talking about, but the gist of it is clear. Like basically, they point to the Avatar SDK website. And then when we looked into the videos, the story looked pretty wild. So there's like a national ID card in Bangladesh that can be downloaded from the government website. And in order to download it, you have to put in some personal information and then do facial verification with your phone. And with your phone, you have to look straight into the camera, then turn left, then turn right. And so basically what the videos were telling were that you could load the Avatar SDK website on your computer, create your avatar from just one image, show the screen to the mobile phone, move the avatar to the left and to the right, and facial verification would pass.
Wow.
Imagine we had a few very, very stressful days trying to understand who's using that. And there's a lot of people who use that. So I sent it to a few of my friends in the network who speak Bengali, and half of them came back telling that, don't worry, that's nothing. Basically, people get older and the government system fails to recognize them anymore. And instead of going there and making another photo, they just upload 10-year-old photo and the verification passes. And then other half came and said, no, this is scam. Definitely there's people doing something illegal with that. So we basically treated it as a zero-day vulnerability. We built a deepfake detector. We sent it to the Bangladeshi government. And basically we are telling the story only right now just to give time to address this issue, but we also want to kind of make the world aware that like this can be pretty unpredictable. You know, we would never thought that our avatars would follow a facial verification system, but apparently it's true, and we're actually using a facial recognition system right now to test the quality of each release, because now it kind of makes sense.
Wow. The world we live in, it's just so many scammers out there. And, you know, that is true though, because I mean, I've seen some pretty amazing avatars that are so lifelike. And, you know, even, there's one, like if I'm on Facebook or whatever, it's somebody's promoting something, but it has Elon Musk with an avatar. And only at what, like, you have to look really closely. At one point, you could see that it's definitely not him. But, you know, they were saying even now, like on television with the president and this and that, they're like, you don't know, is that really them anymore? Because, you know, if he's busy doing something else, they might have an avatar out, you know, showing him in the audience or something like that. And I'm like, this is the world we're living in. It's scary. And, you know, again, you could have something phenomenal and there's going to be some jerks out there that use it for bad. But that's amazing that you actually caught it, because most people wouldn't know to check the website traffic or whatnot. So, you know, since you have that expertise, you were able to notice that and kind of correct it. But, you know, usually you don't know about this stuff till something bad happens, and then they're coming at you saying, what did you do? It's like, I didn't do anything. What happened? But that's cool that you're on it. I'm glad that you contacted the Bangladesh authorities too. But that's probably just one of many bad people out there that'll try to use it for bad. But at least you have something in place to try to prevent that, which is awesome.
Yeah, it looks like it was not misused, at least a lot. I think most people used it just to get verification because they didn't want to update the photo. At least that's what data tells. But we don't know for sure. So we wanted to be on the safe side. And I mean, the deepfakes that you're telling about, this is neural rendering, this different technology, and we can get our avatars way more photorealistic than they are right now. Like we can train on higher resolution data. We can make it way more accurate. We're not doing that because, like, well, one of the reasons why we're not doing that is exactly that, to kind of avoid deepfakes, because with 3D models, it's going to be insanely easy to create all kinds of fake videos. And we don't want that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, who would have, you know, when you're creating something like this, that would be the furthest thing from my mind. But unfortunately, you know, there are some people out there that will look for any which way to try to get over on the world. So, I mean, it's good that you're on top of that, though, because I mean, I think doing this, you know, because I've seen like years ago how video games were made and stuff like that. You know, like I was actually watching the movie yesterday from like 1985, and it's kind of like looking at that acting, like really, like everything's advanced so much different in video games. Like now they're so lifelike. Like even when we watch, you know, the grandkids and stuff will watch stuff, it's like you know, literally, it's just amazing. It looks so real, and it's not. I mean, you could tell at some points, like you say, that it's not real, but you know, you have something phenomenal here, and you want it to stay that way and not be used for bad. Now, I guess it glimpses into the future. With the release of MetaPerson 2.0, what's next for your Avatar SDK? Are there any exciting projects or further enhancements in the pipeline that you can give us a sneak peek into?
Yeah, I mean, we've just released the new MetaPerson avatar, so the last few weeks, culminating in the release, were a little bit crazy. So we need a little bit more time to breathe, you know.
Yeah, no rest for you.
but yeah, we have a lot of changes coming up, mostly related to clothing items. We've developed the system of clothing items that's pretty close to what humans do. So you can combine upper body, like shirts, lower body, like pants, and then shoes. And we keep adding assets. We collaborate with 3D artists to streamline this process. So we hope that at some point that will become a creator economy. That's something that our users will see in the next few months. Also, while we were doing all of that, our research team has just released a demo of creating recognizable creating avatars from text descriptions. You basically just type
Okay.
Something and you can type a name of the celebrity. You can type just a description of a person. I want a punk with all kinds of fancy hairstyles, and it will actually get generated.
Wow, nice.
You can try it at labs.avatarsdk.com. It's live now. At some point, it will become a product. Right now, it's just a demo of capabilities, and we're also talking to potential customers what they're going to be using it for.
Right.
More generally, long term, we are looking into being the vendor of content creation for 3D experiences. We'll continue to create 3D models for gaming companies and anybody else who is using 3D experiences.
Right. It's amazing. Even just thinking for like commercials, I'm just in my head, like thinking Coca-Cola, when you see the Coca-Cola bottle, like, somebody's coming out with a new brand, new box, new this, I mean, there's just, possibility to be endless for this. I think it's amazing. I mean, anything else you want to talk about, what you're working on or what the plans are or anything?
Oh, I think we covered most of it. It's been a crazy year. We are really happy to push the release out of the gates. We can't wait to see what our customers do with it. We have a few early integrations that's going to become public at some point. We have a few pretty big customers already. So I'm pretty excited.
Nice. So now tell how can people get a hold of you?
You can go to the avatarsdk.com website, and there's contact info that you can send me an email, and if you say it's going to be for me, it will get to me.
Okay.
That's the best way.
Nice. Well, thank you again for being on the show. And again, that was Victor Erukhimov. So thanks for listening to Successful Minds with Patty B. Never miss an episode by subscribing. So thank you again.
Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, my pleasure.
Thank you for listening to Successful Minds with your host, Patricia Barnowski-Schneider. Please leave your feedback and visit strategicadvisorboard.com to get the latest and greatest business advisement on the planet. Follow us on social media for updates, and we'll see you on the next episode.